What is a fact that can possibly save your life? Soy sauce is deadly if consumed in large quantities at once. So no stupid soy sauce dares or challenges, please. This is a New Zealand-specific one, but all emergency numbers work here. The official number is 111, but 999, 000, 911, etc. will all work. This is so that tourists can still reach emergency services easily. Do not delay getting out of a burning building. The flames are not what will kill you. The smoke will get very thick and toxic very quickly and you will not be able to see the way to get out. If you're being tied up, puff yourself out as much as possible so it'll be easier to wiggle out of. Tense muscles. Inhale deep and stretch out your arms and legs to make more space. If you ever almost drown to the point of throwing up water or passing out, even if you feel 100% fine, get to a hospital. Your lungs can unwittingly self-fill up with fluid over the next few hours. If you get impaled or stabbed, leave the object and call 911, or your country's equal. That object is keeping all the blood on the inside of your body. Chest compressions are important regardless of mouth to mouth. When having a heart attack, you don't swallow aspirin, you chew it. If you smell a fish smell in your house, some people also report a urine-like smell for no reason. 9 times out of 10 it means there's an electrical fire. If someone is in trouble and you want to leap in to save them, make sure you have a way to get out yourself. I recently saw a video of a drowning man. Another man jumped in to try and save him. Instead, both drowned. There are no rules. If a stranger puts their hands on you, yell, scream bloody murder, kick, bite, make the biggest scene you possibly can and run away as fast as you can. Make sure your kids understand that this is the exception. The time they must draw as much attention as possible and do anything it takes to get away and get help. Maybe not your life, but someone else's. Most drowning is silent. The victim quite literally cannot speak to call for help, as they are too desperately trying to get any air at all. Drowning can look simply like a person bobbing in the water until they no longer come back up. Keep a watch out, especially if it's kids. If you're visiting an unfamiliar location like a cinema or concert hall, take a few moments to look around for the nearest exit. Then pick out a second as a backup in case the first becomes blocked or cut off. If something happens, especially in a crowded public place, most people's first instincts are to turn around and head for the main entrance, but this is not always the closest, safest or easiest way out. 9 times out of 10, there will usually be a closer exit. Not for yourself, but someone else. First aid in general is not meant to be the only form of aid a person receives. If you give someone CPR, or use a defibrillator on them, or they have a severe allergic reaction requiring an EpiPen, you should still call emergency services immediately. These are just temporary measures to buy time until a medical professional can treat them more thoroughly. Similarly, chewing aspirin for a suspected heart attack still requires emergency services to treat the issue or rule out complications. If the ocean is retreating, there's a tsunami coming. Evacuate the beach immediately. If you were ever buried in rubble, earthquake, tornado, building collapse, etc., don't shout. You'll lose your voice and waste energy. Instead, grab a piece of rubble and knock in patterns of 3s. Humans are expert pattern makers and pattern notices. Rescuers will hear the distinctive pattern sound and go toward it. Once you can hear people, then use your voice. Edit. Cite my source. I learned this from the podcast The Big One. It's about how to realistically survive a massive earthquake day by day with certain scenarios. If a tornado looks like it isn't moving, it's heading right towards you. Maybe not your life, but possibly others. In an emergency situation, pick one person to specifically call 911. In lots of stressful or emergency situations, there are significant delays in calling 911. Some people assume that others will call 911 while others panic, freeze up and don't think to call 911. If you're faced with a situation where 911 is necessary, pick a specific person to contact 911. If you get kidnapped, try to leave as much traces of yourself behind as you can. For example, leave bits of clothing behind or scratch your arms a lot to leave dead skin behind. This way you increase your chances that a search dog could pick up your scent and find you. If your car goes into the water, open the door or roll down the windows immediately. If you don't, the pressure differential will hold them shut and you'll have to wait until the car fills up with water. Edit. A lot of people are telling me that on newer cars, the headrest pulls can be used to break a window. I'm not sure if that's true, because headrests I've seen are just made of ordinary steel, and the ends aren't particularly pointy. A dedicated window breaker will have a sharp point made of an ultra-hard material. Does anyone know if newer headrests are actually made for this? Edit 2. It seems headrests are not designed specifically to break windows, but they can in a pinch if the proper technique is used, and they can actually be removed. Putting the point in the corner of the window and slamming the headrest. Double-check advices in this thread with your own research. Probably said already, but bad CPR is better than no. Even if you're unskilled, you literally cannot make the person more dead, as being dead is what predicates CPR. If you have a puncture wound to the chest or abdomen, the first thing you should do is place a non-porous, think plastic bag object over the wound. It will help prevent tension pneumothorax. A tourniquet is quite simple to put on and can save a life if there is no other option. Place close to the side or near, not on a joint. Never remove a tourniquet once placed, as clots can travel to the brain and lungs. Also mark the time you put it on. If you're at an accident scene and have no medical training, something you can do is collect information and help calm victims. This is quite helpful as it assists the paramedics with triage and keeps potential injured persons' heart rates down. Alternatively, learn how to hold C-spine. If your car ever gets stuck on the train tracks, look for a sign on the crossing arms. This is the Railway 911 and has a number to call to stop traffic as well as your exact location. If you've been cut deeply, pack gauze into the wound as tightly as possible, then hold pressure. If you are driving in inclement weather, pay attention to truckers. They are often warned ahead of time of wrecks and things due to their radios. Also, never drive in the rain without headlights. Never pull out a gun or any weapon unless you are prepared to kill or die. Weapons escalate the situation to another level. If you have a weapon, intend to use it and risk having it used on you. I read somewhere if a stranger gets in your car and tells you to take them somewhere, drive into something like a lamppost or anything, you won't be useful to them anymore because the car is damaged and you've drawn attention to them by crashing the car. You'll damage your car, but you'll have your life and your bank account. Someone at my college did this a few years ago. The guy told him to drive to the bank and withdraw all his money, so he drove into a lamppost and saved himself. Panthers attack their prey from behind. If you encounter a wild panther, don't turn back. This obviously won't work all the time, but if someone grabs you by the arm, don't pull away, twist your arm instead. Your arm goes nearly all directions, but their wrist won't. All firearms are loaded, even if they're not. They are not life-saving but FKN useful. If you have a splinter and can't get it out, cut off a tiny piece of new soap, put over where it is and put plaster, band-aid over it. Next morning, peel off the plaster and whatever the splinter is stuck in the soap. Never ever place an extension ladder on a smooth concrete floor and climb it unless the feet have rubber pads attached to them. Otherwise there is a very real risk that as you climb higher, your weight will cause the feet to slide out from under you because there is very little friction between aluminum and smooth finished concrete. I've climbed ladders countless times and then one day I did this and it almost killed me. Shattered my wrist and almost broke my back. Life forever altered. Do ****, inflate your life jacket before exiting the aircraft. This is especially true in case of emergency water landings. As any air safety expert would tell you, inflating your life jacket inside a rapidly submerging airplane will cause you to float up to the cabin's ceiling, unable to move without help. The right thing to do is to take a deep breath and swim out of the airplane with your life jacket still deflated. Only when you're safely out of the plane should you pull the inflation cord. If you're lost in the wilderness and need something sharp to hunt, defend with, make a spear by hardening a soaked branch stick over a fire. The water prevents the stick from burning, but the heat from the fire forces the branch to condense and harden, making them more durable.